Hey there, I just wanted to do a video on some top tier decks in Legends of Runeterra. This is the Yasuo Stun Deck. I would say this is probably one of the top 3 decks right now. Right here is Yasuo, kind of the basis of the whole deck. Basically what he does is when you stun or recall an enemy, he deals 2 to it. And then when you stun or recall 5 times, he levels up, and every time you stun or recall, he strikes it with his base damage. Something to look out for is if he's frostbited, which means they'll get a 0 attack, he will deal 0 to them. But if you buff Yasuo, he will deal the additional damage as well. Let me just go through the deck and show you what I have in it. Guile. When we stun an enemy, once you get Yasuo out, this could be 2 to 5 damage. So, high value. This card is kind of like an essential piece to your early game, because you want to play him early and then start stunning stuff so you can level up Yasuo, but he also gets buffed by this. So this is kind of a good way to get an early threat out on the board and pressure them. And because he has 3 health, it's really hard for them to deal with. And most of the time, they're either going to have to spend a lot of mana to kill him, or do or trade 2 or more cards to deal with him because of the quick attack. Green Glade Duo. Elusive gains +1 for every other ally enters the turn. Really good unit, really good card to get damage and trade for bigger units. Arachnid Sentry. Stuns enemy when you play him, 3/2. It's a really strong card with a lot of value. Cooling Strike. There's not a lot of removal in this deck because you're kind of like depending on Yasuo to kill everything. This allows you to kill early threats like Braum and Zed, because if you don't, this deck will take a long time to deal with them, and those specific champions can run away and take over the game. Katarina is probably the only heavily controversial card in here right now because she recalls and you have to continually spend mana to play her. But I look at it as like a good card for the deck because every time she recalls, that's a stack for Yasuo to flip. And when she flips, she rallies every time you play her. So you're just providing extra pressure on the map, on the board, and it will force the enemy team to burn spells onto her or throw units in front of her. And that's kind of just a plus because she's not your win con. She's just kind of like a tool to get Yasuo leveled up, or even keep him alive because you want them to kill her, not Yasuo. Shadow Assassin, elusive, draw 1. Hard to block her, and you get card draw off it. Pretty good. Steel Tempest, starting attacking enemy. I only have 2 because Yasuo, when you have 2 Yasuos, one on play and one in your hand, that Yasuo in your hand turns into this. I don't think you need 3 if a Yasuo turns into this spell. Wool of Ionia, recall a unit. I like to save this for like higher cost units, especially like Trenmere or something, just so they can't replay it on the same turn. This is probably one of the very few cards in your deck that's considered a board wipe. If you have Yasuo, this is a board wipe for most of the time. But this is also a good way to like instantly flip Yasuo if you have a lot of people out. Legion Generals, the other win con aside from Yasuo, because you're stunning and recalling so much, he becomes a 10-10 very easily. And he can keep going forever. But I normally get him to 9 or 10. So he's overly strong. They can't really chump block him with Fearsome. They have to do with someone 3 or more. So he's a very strong unit. I like to consider this card as a hard staple. Mentor Reckoner is not a win con, but just a tool kind of like Katarina. He's kind of just a stall tactic for most of the time. Just a way to kind of slow down the game so you can set up, which is kind of the whole idea of this deck is you're not trying to rush him down or trying to get out a big creature. You're kind of just stalling to get Yasuo out there or stalling to overwhelm them. That's kind of the whole point of the deck. He allows you to do such. And then Yoon Chase Yon, he stuns 2 enemies when you play him. He's a 6/6. He does cost 7, but he's kind of like when you play him, it's easier to save your life or try to win the game. So yeah, that is the deck. The biggest problem with this deck is that it's late game. It's dependent on how you set up through the early and mid game. So this deck requires a lot more thinking and preparation, which isn't a whole lot, but messing up one play early on, like stunning a wrong creature or something like that, could put you in a horrible position. This does counter a lot of meta decks and some middle range decks, so it's really good. The only deck this deck isn't good against is flat out rush decks that are designed to try to overwhelm you in the first 3 turns. And the only reason for that is just if you don't trade with them aggressively early, you're going to be at 9 health and they can burst you down very quickly with how the deck is designed. Because normally it's Ezreal, and Ezreal deals 2 damage to you every time they cast a spell, so something to watch out for. This deck does counter the Zed Ionia deck, which I will do a deck analysis like this one with. So, yeah, that's the Yasuo Stun Deck.